Bonjour, buongiorno, buenos dias, good morning, pilgrims. It is day 8 on the Camino Sanabres, and we are in the town of Oteiro after climbing 200 meters on the last day of this trip. This is where the stage is supposed to end if you follow Gronce's breakdown, but the municipal albergue here doesn't have any food, so you have to bring it yourself. I'm walking with Nicolas, my Italian pilgrim friend. We're gonna walk together to Santiago, to the square. Yes, man, what a great day to be walking out here. Temperature-wise, it is 10 degrees Celsius. The high is gonna be 22. Unbelievable. I'm not wearing my puffy jacket or my fleece jacket for the first time in weeks, I have to say. And yes, today we're gonna talk about money. Money on the Camino. How much money did I spend on this trip? Of course, you can do the Camino different ways. You can be very frugal and spend very little, staying only at municipal albergues, trying to eat only from the menú del día. Or you can go all out and only stay in private accommodations and have regular meals. Or somewhere in between, which is I think what I did on this trip. There's the albergue. I don't see anybody inside because of course everybody probably left super early this morning, just like we did. I woke up at 6:30 in the morning, had breakfast at 7 because that's when the bar opened. And it's funny because at the place where I stay, right next to it, there was a laundry machine, one of those public ones that you usually find by the supermarkets, but of course was broken. So the only one available was the 10 euro one. And I wasn't gonna pay 10 euros just for one set of clothes. So I guess I had to do laundry today. And that's gonna be part of the overall cost that I'm gonna break it down just as I did on the Via de la Plata. We're gonna start with the most expensive one that I think would be the accommodations, of course. Now take it with a grain of salt because I did stay 4 nights at a hotel in Orense, and then that kind of threw the entire budget out the window. Now, on this leg of the trip, I stayed in all different types of accommodations. I stayed in the donativos, the municipal albergues, but I also stayed in private hostels. I have stayed in hotels. I stayed in everything, so you have an idea of what it's like. And it all came out to be 526 euros and 28 cents, an average of 43 per day. You can always go to the video's description on a day-by-day basis, see what I spend with my daily cost breakdown, and you can get an idea of what it would have been like to walk those 4 days. This vlog and this series are brought to you by Garcia Dreams. Together, we build a better future. We made a quick stop at the first bar on today's stage, not just to get a coffee, but to get a stamp, because as you guys know, the last 100 kilometers, you're supposed to get at least 2 per day, which has kind of ruined my Credential, because if I would have got it just one a day, I could have had all my stamps in just one booklet. But that's how it goes. I'm still gonna continue on walking, so I'm gonna use that second one probably all the way to Pamplona. I'm so excited that I don't even want to stop at the bar and take off my backpack. So I was just there drinking my café con leche, my mid-morning snack. And I also got, what was it? An Aquarius for the road. It's somewhere back here. Yes, it is. Come on. Come on. Here it is. Do you remember how many of these I was drinking on the Japan, on the Shikoku Henro? Aquarius. Well, now that we have left the Nacional behind and we're about to go under another major road, we can jump into the next ticket on the agenda, which would be meals. A very important one, of course. what you eat out here is all up to you. There's so different eating styles out there, so many of them, from vegans to just carnivores to anything in between. So of course you can just rely on the menú del días, which now range anywhere between 13 euros, as I saw in that sign behind, but I paid as high as 15. So that would be the range. Now you don't always have to eat that. You can just go a la carte and enjoy the delicious food that Spain has to offer. You can also do a little bit of both, mix it up. Oh, yes, the echo. You can go to supermarkets and, you know, supplement, for example, the breakfast after walking for, what was it, 30 plus days on both the Villa de la Plata and the Sanabres. Having toast every morning with café con leche might get a little bit boring for some people. So you can supplement it. You can go to the supermarket, buy yogurt, buy, you know, anything you want to add to it. I try to have eggs as many times as possible, but it's not common, at least not on this Camino. So supplement it like that. Also in this number that I'm about to give you, you have to throw in there like the mid-morning snacks or a drink that you may have in the afternoon when you get to the albergue, lunch and dinners. So all in all, I spent 312 euros and 87 cents in meals, which came out to an average of 26 euros per day. Some people want to take below 30 euros per day as an overall budget, but I think you can only do that if you're in a Camino that has the infrastructure like the Francesa. Hola, buenos días. Or you know, or you're just very frugal and just go to the supermarkets. In the supermarkets, I spend 35 euros. Some people buy bread, ham and cheese, and they just make sandwiches, and that's what they have for lunch. So, you know, what's that next marker over there? Is that number 8? Yes, it is. Number 8, 8 kilometers to Santiago. And the next ticket is gonna be laundry. Laundry on the Camino. I have talked about it extensively over the last 2 Caminos. And the same thing as before. You have options, of course. You can wash your clothes by hand, as I've done, in the sink, and then hang it in a clothesline, or hang it in your own clothesline in front of the heater to have it dried overnight. You can use some of the albergues where you stay. They may offer the service, which usually is expensive. You know, like over the last 2 days, I would have had to pay 10 euros to wash 1 set, maybe 2 sets of clothes, which, you know, it can add up really quickly. And another option would be like a laundromat. That's the one that your clothes come out super clean and dry 100%. And there's also like the one that I saw this morning or yesterday right next to the albergue, which is like the setup that I seen mostly in France, and they have them by the supermarkets. So it's the same idea as the laundromat. So those are the ones that are the most expensive. So if you have multiple sets of clothes, or if you can just get a bunch of pilgrims to pull in all their dirty clothes and throw it in a cycle, then it can become way less cheaper, maybe 2 to 3 euros per person. Man, I remember the Camino in Japan, the Shikoku Road there. I was doing laundry for $2, $3. I could have done it every single day. And some of the accommodations, they would just do it for free. So there it goes. Depending on where you are, which Camino you're doing, you might pay one thing versus another. You know, if you have the luggage transfer service, which I didn't use on this Camino, you can bring in more clothes, then it starts to be more economical. And all that came out to be 16 euros, which is not bad. And today I had to probably do another cycle, so you could add another 5 to 7, so maybe 20, 22. Check the description down below, of course. And what is this but kilometer 7 to Santiago? What else? We're running out of things to break down. We can jump on to the next one, which I say will be like miscellaneous stuff. For example, the fee to enter the monastery and do the tour, that was 350. The haircut that I got in Orense was 14 euros. And the Compostela today, when I get to Santiago, that would be, the Compostela is free, but if you want the distance certificate, which most people, of course, they want it, that's the only one where it says where you started and where you finish. That's €5, including the cylinder, the protective cylinder, where you can put them both in, so that, you know. All right, so that would be six. We're so close, man. I should have done this this tier when I was walking next to that busy road, because we're gonna talk about transportation costs. Now, what am I talking? I mean, I'm supposed to be doing this on foot, and of course I am. I'm not using luggage transfer service, which I would have probably included in here, but the only transportation that I took was that train that I had to take from Puebla de Sanabres back to Zamora, wait a couple of hours, and then take the AVE train to Orense, and a train that was just full of pilgrims on their way to Sarria. So that came out to be €37. I had to buy it last minute from my phone the day before, and the train left the station like at 7:30 in the morning, and I made it to Orense around noontime. Oh yes, walking through these desolate villages on the Camino. I have not seen any other pilgrims. You would expect that on the last approach to Santiago, there will be plenty of pilgrims. And I just had a little scary yesterday with all those students, but they're nowhere to be found. I think we're gonna be on our own, almost all the way to the cathedral. 15 kilometers down and 5 to go. And what should we do but add it all up, shall we? So what did the meals, accommodations, supermarket, laundries, transportation, and miscellaneous came out to be? For the Camino Sanabres, it was €944.69, or an average of €78 per day. Now, of course, I keep saying it like a broken record, but those 4 days in Orense really blew the budget out of proportion. Those 4 nights that I spent at a hotel paying €71 a night, that's what happened. If I add it up with the rest of the Camino, from day one on the Camino or the Via de la Plata, when I started on the 29th of February, which is gonna be a tricky day to celebrate. I can only do it every 4 years or so. So that came out to an overall cost of €2,000, 373.57. It's a lot, I get it, for 31 days, 31 walking days and 6 rest days. But, this is not the Camino or the the Camino Frances, where the costs are much, much lower. When you have the infrastructure and you have competition, that's when the prices go down. When you're out here and there's like a handful of people walking, you're not gonna get the same service or the same prices. Now, in this total, of course, it's not included my flight. That's gonna vary drastically depending where you're coming from. And it's also not included my expenses, my gear that I had to buy. As you guys know, I bought in Salamanca a second pair of shoes because my Olympus 5, I got a tear on one of the sides, and I bought the water bottle there, so that was like $150. And then when I also bought a pair of headphones, that was like €20, since I lost my original ones on day one. And then in Orense, I bought the sleeping bag, the shirt, and the fleece for 86 euros. And of course, I wouldn't be able to do this without the help of all the Trail Angels, the channel members. I received a total of 2,748 euros and 50 cents from you guys, so it covered the trip. Now, of course, this is not the end of the trip. When I get to Santiago, it's gonna be the first 1,000 kilometers of the 4,000 kilometer trip all the way to Rome. So if you guys feel like donating, sending me some trail magic, if I don't use it on this trip, I would always use it on the next one. Some of the money from this part of came from the Shikoku Henro and the months after. So let me enjoy the last 5 kilometers and I'll see you guys as I enter the historic city center in Santiago. Four, 3, 2, 1. And here we are entering the city. Ah, man, I'm about to start going over the rituals. I got a bottle of red wine at a carniceria of all places. I got my stamp book over here just so that I can relive every single one of them along the way. I got my scallop shell so I can drink the wine out of it. And I'm about to add a new one to the ritual when I take off my shoes and walk the last 100 meters barefoot. Salute! And just like that, after walking for 31 days, made it to Santiago de Compostela. There's the cathedral. I have already gone through all my little rituals. I got to share the moment with Nicolas from Italy. And I got the Compostela. There was nobody there. It was ghostly empty, which is kind of crazy since over the last week, every day was like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 pilgrims arriving here. Incredible, incredible. Cannot believe that I'm doing this again, and thank you guys for that. This is not the end of the video, of course, because we're gonna continue celebrating here in Santiago, and tomorrow the new stage on the journey. I will be staying at the Parador in a few days, so I'll be coming back for this, but now I'm going to the monastery next door. So here we are in the monastery next to the cathedral, San Martin, the place where I have stayed already quite a few times. And I just forgot to mention to you guys something major that happened. As soon as I made it to the cathedral and I was sitting there celebrating, I got to meet somebody very special. A nun that the last time I saw her was last year on the Camino Portuguese, the central route in Redondela. She was the hospitalera where I stay. And she's just leaving to Peru, where she's from. And it was very nice to be there and send her off. And here I am in my room. Let me turn the light on. There we go. Oh man, last time around I had a view to a rooftop. To have a view to the courtyard this time is a parking lot. Well, improving by the trip. What do we have here? We have, this is not the typical pilgrim bunk bed setup. I got this for 67 euros for one night. Going once, going twice, I'll take it. And of course, it comes with its own private bathroom. I'm gonna take a little break here, just take a shower, you know, regroup. I gotta do laundry today, and then maybe go out and celebrate. There's a subscriber that reached out to me, and he's coming back here from Murcia. So maybe I'll have a drink with him and with Nicolas. Let's just do that. This is the closest laundromat that I found near the cathedral. I am gonna take this opportunity to wash all my clothes before I start my trip tomorrow. And I'll probably do it again in a few days when I have to get back here to Santiago. This is right next to the square where I'm staying. So yeah, I could just set this and probably go for a coffee. My room is so nice, the shower is so good. I got a full-size towel, which is much appreciated. And just seeing all the pilgrims walking by, making it to the cathedral, is just incredible. It just feels like there's nobody here. I don't know why, but I was expecting a larger crowd. I mean, I do know that Semana Santa is over and it is the start of the season in a way. So yeah. Let's see, 4 euros. Yeah, this is gonna be 4 on this side and 2 on the other one. So probably 4, 4, 8. Let's see, let's go for it. And I'm gonna go with 30 degrees. Oh, it already decided what to do. So here's a little tip. If you're in the laundromat by yourself, and you have 2 dryers and a lot of clothes to dry, then just split it in half and get it all done in one cycle. Look at this. Oh yeah, baby. After getting my clothes dried, I bounced around Santiago having drinks with pilgrim friends. I even got to meet a subscriber. So introduce yourself, sir. Say hello, Sebastian.
Hello.
Thank you so much, Sebastian, for that beer and for your company. We had a great time talking. I even got to fly the drone, get some shots. And that's it. I went to have dinner at Casa Manolo, a famous pilgrim restaurant where you can get a menú del peregrino for, what was it, like 15 euros. And I had the caldo gallego with ribs and closed it with torta de Santiago. Can I believe that I haven't had torta de Santiago on this trip? What's going on, Camino Sanabres? Yes, I want to thank, of course, all the troll angels, all the channel members, everybody that supports me financially, that helps make these trips a reality. Wrapping up another Camino, another big one, and tomorrow we're gonna start a new one. I can't believe that this is not the end point, but the starting point of yet another Camino, as I always say. So I guess I'll see you all tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. sharp on a rainy day and the start of the Camino Frances in reverse. See you then.